Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang. I am here on morning number 1780, and we are working on morsels of thought, of wisdom, because knowing the right thing to do is having wisdom, and then actually doing it is committing acts of virtue. Now, I need to find my books. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There we are. We are reading from wise people such as Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman, who wrote Lunar Legacy DNA of Success. Well, we learn what to do from them, and since I'm not very wise myself, I look for wisdom from other people and I find books. Oops, where did that cat go? Oh, goodness gracious, sorry. And yeah, wisdom from other people. Okay, we are on page 112 of Lunar Legacy. I'm going to jump right in. Okay, quote: When I came to the United States from Liberia in 2001, I didn't have anything. I was looking forward to living a good life here, but it wasn't long before I got injured at the supermarket where I worked and was taken to the hospital. They rushed me from the emergency room to the operating room, and I was surprised that they didn't ask me for money before treating me. I had a procedure done that wouldn't have been possible in Africa, where you had to have money before you could get medical treatment. That experience was my aha moment and my introduction to healthcare. When I got out of the hospital, I made a promise to give back to those who are helpless and need support and someone to advocate for them. The next year, I went to school to be a certified nursing assistant, that's CNA, and in 2007, I became a registered nurse, RN. After working in many different clinical areas, I found that I wasn't fulfilled. Something was missing. In 2009, I started Prestige Healthcare Resources, PHR, a home healthcare business, and in 2010, I left the hospital, John said, unquote, end quote. In 2018, continue, I went to Virginia Beach. On my way home, I got a call from a friend who said he was looking for a new mental health provider and asked me if I wanted to apply. I rushed to get an application and became a mental health provider. It was very fulfilling and a way for us to help the homeless and underserved population. We've grown our business to the point where we have several hundred staff members today and can help so many people be a better version of themselves, John explained. Now, I want to help others become the best version of themselves. I wrote 2 books this year. Now that is the wisdom today. Okay, continue. I wrote 2 books this year. The first is Win the Year and Build Your Wealth. And the second one is You Got This. Through my stories, I want to help others build wealth and usher in their legacy, said John. Ben waited until John was done speaking to introduce himself to him. When he was done explaining the lunar legacy, he stated that John's legacy and his goal would be a wonderful contribution. Once he explained what was involved, John readily agreed to participate. I'm so glad to have you aboard. What legacy will you send to the moon, John? Ben asked eagerly. That's easy, John replied. I'd tell people that they shouldn't leave the world as they found it. They should leave it better than it was when they came to the earth. Everything we see here has been invented or done by somebody already. Someone put everything here, and everything has already been made for us. My question is, do you want to leave things as they are, or do you want to make positive changes? In other words, do you want to be a consumer Or do you want to be a producer? As a consumer, you're just partaking of someone else's contribution. But as a producer, you are making your own footprint and providing something that will benefit the world after you're gone. For example, in our work with the homeless, we don't just talk about it, but we ask what we can do about it. We bring the homeless to our program and train them. We show them how to apply for employment and how to become independent. That is one way we are leaving a legacy, and our goal is to find a solution to the issue. We can come together to make this happen. That's awesome. Excuse me. The water's too far away. Where's the water? That's awesome. I love the fact that you had nothing when you came to this country, and now your goal is to help others who are underserved and have little to nothing. Not only do you want to help them, but you're also turning things around for them by showing them what they can do too, Ben replied. My past has made me aware of a great need, and I know that people can change their lives and their legacies, but sometimes they need someone who cares enough to show them the way, John said. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do too, John. I hope that the information and items we launch will show others in a different time and place that the profound experiences and insight from people like you transcend time and space. They are, in fact, universal. It is my greatest wish that we will impact the future for billions of years to come, Ben said. I know that you'll play a big part in that. We are reading from Lunar Legacy DNA of Success. This is written by Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman. This is the epitome of trying to put virtue into the world, morsels of a thought at a time. They are doing the same thing, except in bigger bites. Chapter 22. Chapter. After spending more than a week updating his database of names and information, Ben felt like he wasn't getting anywhere. He had met some incredible people, and there was no doubt their words and experiences could change lives, even the universe as a whole, but he felt something was missing. But the more he looked at the information in front of him, the more overwhelmed he became, and he began to doubt himself and the mission. While he was still sure that it had the potential to be something greater than anything ever done before, he started to wonder if the scope of the project was too monumental of a task for him to have taken on. He expressed those doubts when talking to his new friends, Ken and Maris. We read the R Factor, remember? He was consulting with them regularly at this point. There is no doubt, he says, quote, there is no doubt in my mind that you are the right person for this mission, Ben, Maris said. Leadership is not always easy and it can get messy. We all need to admit that there are times when we're challenged or overwhelmed. That's normal. So, what do you suggest I do? Delay the launch until I figure it out? Oh no, Ken chimed in. Stay the course with consistency. This is where reframing and resilience comes in. Sometimes the solution is as simple as asking for help. This is a monumental feat you're undertaking, Ben. After all, Ben, have you thought about getting a coach? Someone who can help you get to the next level? I wouldn't know where to begin or who else to turn to, Ben admitted. I do, Maris explained. exclaimed. "We met a phenomenal coach at one of our events last month. Her name is Victoria Rayner. We friend Victoria Rayner. And she'd be a perfect fit for the Lunar Legacy launch. I'll forward her contact info and I'll let her know to expect to hear from you right away." Ben set up a consultation with Victoria the next afternoon, and he opened up the conversation by asking her to share a bit about herself. "I am a possibility coach, capital P, capital C, and the founder of YU2SHINE. You2 Shine. YU numeral 2 SHINE, all capital letters. My company's vision is to combine spirituality with practicality, making a practical way to achieve success that is measurable and that success that is immeasurable, success that is both lasting and shifting. Every product and service we have creates a lifestyle and way of conducting your life and your business in a way that surpasses the immediate," she told him. "That sounds like what I'm trying to do, Victoria. Tell me more," he said. "The concept that we breathe daily is that every human being, as we know them, exists in two parallel realities. They have two voices in their head, the scared me voice and the sacred me voice. It is the commitment that we create daily of which voice to listen to that dictates that life. I call that the little c of commitment because scared and sacred are spelled with identical letters with C in a different place. Hence, shift of C or shift of commitment from scared to sacred. Shift of commitment from scared to sacred. Then, when I say I am me, small m, capital E, I purposely brand it with a little m and a capital E. The scared part of me is matter. It is mortal. A part of me will die and become the dust to the earth. It is material and it is manifested. It is the desire of every human being to have a comfortable life. It is that survival part of us that it includes the fear of guaranteeing our survival. That sounds like what I'm experiencing," Ben admitted. "Maybe, but I have a different approach. I believe it is to be loved infinitely so it can be assured continually. It is the part that I get to hold and say, I get that you're scared. I'm going to do it with you, and we are going to do it anyway." That voice comes from the capital E, which is also part of me, small m, capital E. That E stands for energy, and it is eternal. It is part of us. However, it is defined as spiritual or religious, or even in a quantum physical sense. I call it the sacred me. M, capital E. It is the energy that is never created or destroyed. That eternal energy is the essence of who we are behind this mortal life, and it expands. My daily task with you, Ben, is to help you learn how to surrender your matter to your energy and your mortal to your eternal," Victoria explained. One of our principles One of our principles is that we care through the mindset. I realized years ago that it's good that we talk about mindset, but if the mind is set, it isn't growing. I never thought of it that way, but it's so true. I think I can learn a lot from you, Ben said. How do we get started? Ben, I always suggest that my clients start with their self image, which is their awareness of their infinite self worth. I always say that in order to dream big, you've got to be big. That's why I encourage my clients to first focus on self perception. When you perceive yourself as worthy of infinite love, you open yourself up to imagining that existence. It is the first step in a process that includes 6 mental faculties supported by 26 universal laws. The purpose is to open the ability to fully create the life you want to create, regardless of the circumstances in which they find themselves. Victoria elaborated. We are reading from Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman. He's got all these famous authors in here talking. I've met them too. I've met them all. It's incredible how your approach and principles align with my mission, expressed Ben. Not only do I need your help, but I think you'd be a tremendous contributor. Would you be interested in coaching me and launching your legacy for eternity? And if so, what words of eternal wisdom would you share? I'd encourage people to dissolve their ego into a vision that is global and become part of a legacy that surpasses them. Mark Twain once said, "When no one worries about who gets the credit, everything gets done." My greatest legacy would be to help people live their life so fully and completely and open your talents so widely that there is no attachment to whether or how you are remembered because you've left behind an imprint that needs no validation or recognition. That removes the incredible burden of limitation. In a nutshell, I'd tell people on the moon and in the universe to live their life so fully that they have no time to leave a legacy. Then they will leave a legacy that is everlasting. Her words were so profound that Ben had to pause to write them down, not only for his sake, but for the sake of his mission. Victoria had just given him the insight he needed, and he knew without a doubt that she was the connection he needed to bring his vision to fruition in a greater way than he'd ever envisioned possible. There we have 6 more minutes. Chapter 23. As he went through Victoria's coaching program, Ben began to let go of the perception that the Lunar Legacy Project was his and started to realize that it was bigger than he was. Yes, he had produced it, as John Smith had shared, but he alone couldn't take credit for it. Realizing that the best way for it to attain success at the greatest level was to relinquish the credit, that's what he did. And just as John had said, things started to move along. People stepped up, providing ideas and volunteering their expertise. And once some of the weight he'd been carrying was lifted from his shoulders, he noticed how much more quickly they were progressing toward their goal. It was freeing and satisfying at the same time. It was a relaxed Ben that picked up his parents at the airport the following weekend. They only had a few short days to spend together, and one of their first requests was to spend time with their granddaughter. It was Luna who suggested that they go on a short hike, and his mother mentioned that perhaps they could get a little sightseeing in when they were done. It was a perfect day for both. After they enjoyed an hour-long hike, during which time Luna talked nonstop to her grandparents, pointing out everything she'd seen on that same trail the many times she'd hiked it with her dad. When they were done, they decided to take a trip to a nearby small town and get something to eat. As they were walking down the street, they came across a small ice cream shop tucked among a row of houses. Its unique appearance called them in, but even more, they were drawn to its fun name, Mad Hatter's Ice Cream. Walking into the door, they were immediately hit by the fun atmosphere and met by a woman. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Are we back yet? Yes. Oh my God. Yikes. Shoot. Okay, better. Sorry. Mad Hatter's ice cream. Walking into the door, they were immediately hit by the fun atmosphere and met by a woman who welcomed them as soon as they stepped in. Thank you for stopping into Mad Hatter's, she smiled. Oh, I think we had to. I don't think my daughter would have let us walk by, Ben laughed. As Luna and his parents perused the different ice cream flavors, Ben walked around the shop, checking out the items on the walls. Intrigued, he asked the woman if she was the owner. My name is Tammy Lane. Actually, I run this shop with the owner who has gifted it to me, she said. That's fascinating. How did that come about? Well, I'm a recently divorced mother of three, and I'll admit that it's been a struggle. I was an Uber driver, and the owner of this shop became my friend. As he saw me come and go at all hours to drive people where they needed to go, he said he wanted to do something good for me because he's seen me do good for others, she shared. Believe me, I was shocked when he told me that he wanted me to have this shop. It was a blessing when I really needed one. What an incredible story, Ben grinned. It's been a blessing. Ice cream is the end all, fix all. People walk through these doors when they're happy or mad, and when they're sorry and want to celebrate. As someone who has struggled with depression, I can understand all of those emotions, Tammy said. I am fortunate that I get to bring the light to this fun and wacky place. And I get to promote my message, which is a bonus. What message is that? Ben asked. Well, people battle with their self worth, and I think appreciation changes everything, especially when we express that appreciation before anyone does something for us. I call it, quote, putting the pre in appreciation, PRE, she said. Like when you thanked us when we walked in the door? Ben asked, catching on. Exactly. Or tipping a server or driver before they begin to serve you. It pivots the person's day and starts the interaction on a positive note before anything is said or done, Tammy said. I even wrote a book about it, coincidentally titled Putting the Pre in Appreciation. I wrote it because I want people to consider the trail they're leaving behind, knowing that every day, even on the hard days, we leave a ripple on everyone we meet. We have the ability to remind people that they matter. I love it, Ben exclaimed. Thank you, and I think your daughter would love some ice cream, Tammy pointed out as she glanced at Luna, who was anxiously waiting for them to return. While Luna wanted to try every flavor, she finally decided on two of her all-time favorites. When all four of them had a cone in hand, they sat down at one of the tables to enjoy their treats. But Ben found himself too curious to sit still. Getting up, he walked across the shop and admired the unique decor. Every once in a while, something caught his eye, and he asked Tammy about it. The more he talked to her, the more fascinated he became. He discovered that Tammy was not only an author, but she was also an Iraq veteran who was committed to helping others. After her depression resulted in suicide attempts, she turned to using kindness to make her world a better place. Not only did she run the ice cream shop, but she also teaches suicide prevention courses, helping people understand those in crisis and sharing how to ask for help. It's all about allowing people the space and the grace to be human, Tammy explained. And don't we need all that? Ben pointed out. So we shall continue with this later. To the moon! The book that went to the moon. Lunar Legacy, DNA of Success by Ben Haldeman and Greg S. Reid. We're actually doing, well, we are learning what to do. That's wisdom. And when we do those things, that becomes virtue. Okay? Old Kinderheck.